Well, welcome once again to the readings into reincarnation. I would like to state that I appreciate those that have been commenting thus far. Your comments have slowly been turning into inquiries, and I want you to know that whenever somebody has a question, especially when it comes down to the content that I provide, I'm always willing to do my best to answer those questions and to do it in a knowledgeable sense. So, questions have been brought up because of the narrative over Jesus. Um, when it comes down to the topic over Jesus, that will more than likely, any questions in regards to that will be answered within my so-called Sunday sermons, or Monday, not Sunday sermons, or any of the other days of the week and those sermons. This whole segment about reincarnation, once again, isn't really over the factors of reincarnation and how it should be applied or understood within our daily lives. It should be understood that the reason why I'm bringing this out is to tie it in to that time loop scenario that we have all been caught into. I am only going with sources that strengthens that so-called time loop theory. Reincarnation, deja vu, the Mandela effect, all of those strange and unusual and so-called unexplainable oddities out there is very explainable when you understand that time loop scenario. Many things can be explained. Many things can be explained through this legion of souls known as Michael from back in 1970. Once again, remember, this was wrote many years ago. Truths may change, but reality does not. Because reality is the here and now. Truth is adulterated as more evidence is applied. Now, let's go into something just a little bit more out there, if you will. And this isn't really the time to state this, but because Michael makes mention of this topic, let's go ahead and go there. Now, I am a firm believer that when UFO disclosures are, finally happening by those that are in the know, if you will, disclosures over the chemtrailing will be released as well because they are connected. That's what I believe. So, UFOs, really? Is that a topic that we really need to focus on? Well, sure. It's a hot topic today, right? So what does Michael have to say about UFOs? Well, first, we have to start off where they start off with their questionings over. So are humans the only species on this planet that have the kinds of souls that we do, that go through reincarnation and growth? Now, according to the Vedic and the Gita and the Indian transcripts, it states that, of course, we go through many stages of reincarnation, from mineral to demigod and everything in between. But according to Michael, there are only two such species on this planet: human beings and cetaceans, that is, whales and dolphins. However, we think that you should know that there are over 10 million ensouled species in this galaxy alone. Now, I won't go into the explanations over the cetaceans and those being the only other souls that go through reincarnation, because I'm still having issues with that one. But we're going to go ahead and skip beyond that explanation that has been given regarding the whales and dolphins. But it does say that a question was brought up. Back to whales and dolphins, if they are truly ensouled, then we should be able to communicate with them. And Michael replies, "You cannot communicate with your own fellow humans. Why should you extend the confusion beyond your species?" Makes sense, doesn't it? Okay, and so we have told you that humans invariably reincarnate in human form, and this is a fact. As long as a species is planet-bound, as you are, then their experience will be limited to the species into which all of the entity members are cast. When a species gets out into the larger realms of the galaxy, then it is often useful to experience life in different I'm sorry. It is often useful to experience life in different species as well as in different bodies. Since the roles, modes, goals, centers, attitudes, and chief features are all universal, there is much to be gained in this experience. When humankind evolves and enters the ranks of the space-going species, then human souls will also experience trans-species reincarnation. That is still very much in the future, as we suggest that you attend to the task you have set for yourselves in this world. So does that mean that we don't experience life as dolphins? I think it would be kind of fun to be a dolphin or a whale, don't you? You will not be able to do that when humankind is not planet-bound. Until that time, you will experience life in human form only. And so, somebody, a smart Alex says, "Next you'll be talking about UFOs." It was not our intention to do so. We are here to answer your questions. Well, alright then. Are there UFOs, and if so, what are they? Most are simply what their name implies: unidentified flying objects. A few are robot monitors. A few are those making studies. A few are lost. A few are what you would probably call tourists. They do not all represent one species. They are from many places and cultures. So this hothead pipes up and he says, "Well, this is absurd. First whales and dolphins, now little green men from outer space." Oh, don't mock an entity. We did not say there were little green men. Though there are two species not unlike your own. Others are so vastly unlike you that it is improbable that you would not recognize them as living, let alone sentient. So another person in the group says, "Well, I read a book that said there were aliens on the moon." There have been extraterrestrials on the moon in the past. Most of their activity was confined to what you call the dark side. There are a few robot machines still there, more of them devoted to mining than anything else. Did we not cover the aspects of gods and the mining? Yeah. Um, okay, so there are a few robot machines still out there, most of them devoted to mining than anything else. Though there are two monitor stations recording activity in this solar system. So, once again, this hothead pipes up. Come off it. I'm a biologist, and I tell you, all of this sounds like so much bullshit. This is the reply. You mean that you are frightened, and your chief feature will not allow you to admit that you might be wrong. We impart information without bias. It is yours to accept or reject as you choose. Your acceptance or rejection, however, does not in any way alter these facts. Our purpose is to answer your questions. If you wish to know more of the other ensouled species in the physical universe, you have only to ask. Most of these species that go into space are late, young, and early mature, only slightly more advanced than your world is now. There are other species, however, that due to their physical nature enter at a much earlier stage in their evolution. Some enter later, some not at all. Those species that you might recognize as being akin uh, planets, or excuse me, okay, those species that you might recognize as being akin to plants rather than animals do not often go into space, though some of them are active in dealing with travelers. For the most part, we would relegate such material to wishful thinking. There are some early observers of this planet, but a great many of the ancient civilizations that you regard as primitive were more advanced than you realize. For example, the Incan civilization used lookout kites large enough to carry a man. These were kept on long tethers so that the man could watch on mountain roads and passes. Such kites are more easily kept aloft in mountains than on plains and serve a more useful purpose. You underrate your own species if you assume that any and all advances had to be given to you by extraterrestrial visitors. Most of these kites were made of hide and wood, both of which decay rapidly. Though the Incas did not invent the wheel, they were very good with other kinds of engineering, and examinations of the ruins of their cities reveal that. Okay, and then they go into a little bit more as far as past civilizations and the advancements of their technologies, and which, we see this in many, many videos out there over some of the what is known as U parts or out of place artifacts. Okay, these are from lost civilizations, and there is many, many more out there that is to be discovered or can be discovered. Okay, so right there in that little bit of reading, we have learned a lot, and hopefully a lot of this actually makes sense to you. And we're going to leave it at that for today. Um, I have more that I would like to speak of. Hi, Blue. Yeah, he didn't want to be. Yeah, he's up there waiting. He wants some cat food. But it was nice to have yet another spiritual observer out here, as others are listening. So, anyways, okay. Yeah, I'm not really with it today. I'm still waking up. So we're going to go ahead and end this reading today, as I think there has been more than enough for you all to think about thus far. I might not be back for a day or two. That is all depending on what else should transpire. I will try to keep these readings continuing until I feel that enough is enough. Go back and re-review this series. Go over to my secondary channel, Dragonfire Investigative Research. Try to tie in everything that you have learned to what you have or can learn over there. We'll see you in the next reading.